Alright, we're live. What's up, guys? So, in today's video, hopefully it's not that long, I wanted to review the balance changes that were made a couple of days ago, maybe like 2 or 3 days ago at most. Let me go ahead and give everyone the URL. The changes aren't huge. I wanted them to be bigger. I mean, I always like balance changes. I think sometimes how do I say this? So a lot of idle games, what they'll do to move the game forward so that people still have more things to do, instead of adding gameplay, they'll add a new hero. And oh, I know idle games don't really have gameplay, but what I mean by gameplay is like game modes, something like Expedition, something like Stronghold. Like when you add something, because Stronghold wasn't out when the game first released. When you add something like that, that's the closest thing to gameplay that we have, like something you can actually do on a daily basis. So like if you've played other games like AFK Arena and things like that, they've added this Labyrinth game mode. Uh, for idle games, that's the closest thing to a game mode you're going to get. But a lot of times, instead of adding a game mode, it's sometimes easier for the developers to just create a new hero and call that an update. And I really dislike. I mean, I like adding new heroes. That's cool. Um, but sometimes I think that balance changes are bigger updates than adding a new hero, and better updates. Because instead of bringing like a new, probably power creeped, overpowered hero into the mix, what you end up doing is you bring people that maybe weren't as strong before. You just make them viable in a way, like at least like a niche viability. And I think that is really uh, interesting. Makes the game more fun. Makes the game like less idly and more strategy. So instead of just like, here I'm doing my upgrades, like skip battle, finish, just all right, I'm done for today, get off. You can be like, oh, I'm fighting a guy and he's using that hero. Like, oh, I better watch out for this scenario, and you can play uh, accordingly. That's more fun. And I really think With Heroes has that potential, and I think it does it a little bit right now. But compared to other idle games I've played, where it's all about reaching the end game with the same set of 6 heroes that everyone uses, or maybe it's even less than that. Like in some cases, it's only 2 or 3 heroes, but you make multiple copies of them. Um, that's not fun. The strategy is like almost dead. Um, so rebalancing to me is necessary in these kind of games. I think it's okay for someone to be strong one patch and then not be as strong the next patch. Like I know people hate to see their heroes nerfed, but in a game like With Heroes, where all the heroes are, um, you're never wasting them, you know, because of link buffs and things like that. Eventually, at the end of the game, like 20 years, that's too long, but like maybe a couple years if I'm still playing it, it'd be cool to, you know, on a week by week basis, maybe on rebalancing, I have the option to actually change my team based on what I think is strongest in the current time. That's not possible in other games, right? Because in other games, it's like, oh, I can't build. I'm just gonna use Tap as an example because I've played it a lot. I'm not gonna use Freya anymore because she's not as good. But who do I change to? You're like, Zizanoth, or let's use like Monkey King is who I would want to play. But for me to start using Monkey King, I would have to start from scratch because I used the copies of Monkey King to build up my Freya. You see what I mean? Like that feels bad. You feel like you're stuck. And with heroes, like, yeah, you're stuck in a sense because it does take some time. But if you just keep playing the game a whole bunch, you'll have shards for everybody. Like naturally, you're going to get a ton of extra shards for heroes that you currently don't use. So rebalancing doesn't feel that bad, right? It's like, oh, they've made a hero that I have a ton of copies of but haven't been using. Like stronger, that seems pretty good. Um, and also it gives people the chance that like maybe went for a build that didn't work out as well as they'd hoped. Maybe it makes them a little bit stronger, you know? the game should always be trying to make things as balanced as possible. Obviously, rare heroes should be better. I don't disagree with that. Like, you don't want to see mystery heroes exactly as good as mythic heroes, but I do think that it would be neat to, like I said, in certain scenarios, be like, this hero is, you know, really good at guild boss, so I'm gonna build him up even though I know he's weak in arena or something. I want to be like really good at guild boss, and you know, have the option to do that instead of saying like, this hero is just the best at everything, let me use them, and they'll never be weak because the devs never balance their game. I really like hero rebalancing. All right, now that I've said all this spiel about hero balancing in games, what I like, it made it sound like I was happy about the balancing, but honestly, I think it's, if I had to rate, I'll do like a pre-rating, and then I'll go over them again with you guys, and I'll give it like an end of stream rating. But right now, just like skimming through it and looking at some of the heroes, I just had the idea this is probably like a, you know, 5 out of 10. Like, it's not a great rebalance. But I still think it's in the realm of necessary. Hey guys. Anyway, now that you guys listen to that ridiculous talk, let's go ahead and look at the changes. So I put them up in, wait, right there, some of the adjustments, and I'll scroll through them so you can see. So what I really dislike is that on the first line here it says the entire recovery of all heroes has been decreased. So I thought initially they put out like it said supporters, but then I knew something was wrong with that, because that didn't make sense. But now it's all recovery for everybody. So some of those heroes that had like continuous recovery, I believe, on their like DPS heroes, I didn't really think they were overpowered. But I did think that supporters, like some supporters, felt overpowered. Specifically, I think Michael is like really, really strong because the healing is insane. I mean, I'll be honest with you, compared to other games, some of the healers are ridiculous. Like, they end up doing more damage and out healing your entire team. With heroes, it's not like that. Their healers are much more balanced. But I always think that maybe devs have a hard time realizing how good healing is when somebody stacks multiple healers, because they assume people are going to play like this, right? They're going to play one tank, one healer, 4 DPS. But what ends up happening is people will go like something stupid, like 3 healers, and it's like, all right, it's not balanced that around that, but people ended up building it that way. But to be honest, I think the reason people are able to do that is because some of the DPS heroes are strong enough to do the damage of 4 regular DPS heroes. And I'm not going to go into that in this stream, but there are some DPS heroes that seem way better, and there are some stats that seem way worse than... Alright, I guess I'll get into it a little bit. There are some heroes that their thing is damage, right? All they do is damage. Tons of it. And that's fine. You need to have heroes who are focused, like glass cannons, right? And then you have other heroes who are also some damage, like rangers and mages, that have some damage, but then they bring some, like, something extra to make up for their less damage than these, like, glass cannons. The problem is that little extra they bring is bad. It's really bad stats. Here's a really good example. I'll just click anybody that I want to use mages and assassins. I don't want to look at these guys. So it's like I don't know the heroes that well, but let's take Dracula. You see this right here? He gets 5% attack at the start of battle, 100%. It's like almost all DPS heroes have this, right? This 5% attack. And then take a look at like this guy. He gets crit rate. Crit rate is this isn't a great example because they're both attacking things, but like crit rate is not that good compared to attack. Let's find somebody else who's Double attack, it's actually not that bad. I keep finding people that have decent ones. But, well, you know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a hit. I'm looking for immunity. I'm looking for, like, what's that other one? Oh, his is good, actually. It's attack, yeah. I don't know why I clicked him. I knew what his was. It, like minus 2% immunity. Like, I know you're supposed to do less damage because you bring something else to the table, but 2% immunity is not cutting it. Like, this is... That is useless. Minus 3% attack... Actually, that's a mythic hero, so... Do you see what I'm talking about? Anytime you look at a DPS hero, and then you see something like... Debuff Dispel. This is a good example. Not bad, actually. She's not very good because she hits too few people, but you know what I'm talking about, like this guy. This is a great example. Like -5 defense to 5% defense to 3. I'm just thinking to myself, like, he already does less damage than other heroes. Why are you giving him something so useless? Like, if you're gonna make him do less damage, give him something... Alright, how about this? -20% defense. If this guy gets 5% extra attack, this guy should get -20% defense. Like, you cannot just put 5% on everything and then just randomly assign stats to it. 5% immortality, I guess, is what they call it. It's like how it's like control resist, or like 5% negative defense is not the equivalent to 5% attack. You have to adjust this number here with whatever stat you assigned it. And I feel like sometimes they just went through and they said, okay, all of the, like right here, all of the #1 skill, or the top skill on skill #2 is always going to be 5%. And then they went through and they just randomly assigned stats: crit rate, attack, hit, defense, HP, damage reduction. Like, they're not equal. You can't just put 5% on all of them and say balanced. I mean, I'm not saying the game is really unbalanced. I'm just saying I think we should see different numbers except for the static 5 on everything. Because obviously the ones that have attack are going to be better than the rest. What do you guys think? Yeah, I'm rocking the goatee just for a little bit. I'm kind of just like at home because of the whole COVID thing, right? And I'm not going to work. So I'm like, I'll just do something goofy with my facial hair because it's fun. Okay. Wow, I got off topic again. I said I was going to talk about balancing, and then I got to the first line before I went off topic. Hero balancing. So recovery got reduced. I'm actually fine with it. I didn't really know that much of a difference. I'm really mad that they didn't give us... They didn't give us a number. Like, has been decreased. Okay, like, that's good, but what... Was it like a 0.1% decrease? I didn't really notice the difference in the battles that I've watched recently. So, it could have been so small it doesn't matter. Okay, let's move this up. Buff/debuff dispel skills efficiency has been increased. Basically, they went through all the heroes that had a skill that either buff or removed buffs from enemies or removed debuffs from allies. They went through all those heroes. I just said, this skill sucks. Let's make it better. And they did, and I think they actually did a good job. They didn't make it that, like, I think people, when they see this on someone, they instantly write off that hero as being useless because it's not damage. You're like, buff dispel. All right, move on. What's next? Like, I want a hero that does damage. I don't want a hero that does buff dispel or debuff dispel. But honestly, if you think about how like the game mechanic works, there are an insane amount of buffs being applied every round and debuffs being applied to like the enemy heroes or your heroes whenever they're attacked. Like constantly, you'll see the bars like stack up like crazy under the hero's health, right? Of all these icons with all these buffs and debuffs, and they do make a big difference. So I think they actually could have gone overboard, I think, and made these heroes necessary, but I think they just buffed it just enough to make them like to remind people, hey, this is here, you should be using it in some teams. The problem is that CC teams aren't meta right now. Like the debuff dispel. The meta teams are bleed, shock. Those are the main ones. I couldn't think of like anything else really. Like people grab a little bit from everything else, but the core teams are really built around bleed and shock. And then they like pick and choose mythics from other ones that they want. But the problem is I should really review this before I get into it, but it doesn't matter. The bleed and shock heroes apply so much of it that you can't cleanse it fast enough. Unlike freeze, petrify, and stun, where they have a small chance to apply, but when it does apply, it's a big effect, right? It's like I talk. I should just show. It's way easier. Poseidon. Freeze. Target under condition upon normal attack a 10% chance for 2 turns. So on a normal attack, he has a 10% chance to apply freeze. Now let's find a... I'll also use a mythic. Horus. Bleed. Target under condition upon normal attack 25% for 3 turns. Longer duration, and a much over double the chance of applying. So if you're trying to buff, dispel, or if you're trying to debuff dispel, it's better against freeze heroes, stun heroes, because it's harder for them to apply it. You're gonna end up debuff dispelling a bleed, which can pretty easily be stacked again, right? So they're in a tough spot, because I do agree that you needed these debuff and buff dispel heroes to be stronger because they were too weak for sure. But the problem is it ended up inadvertently nerfing the heroes that were already too weak. The ones that needed the nerf didn't really get it. You hurt everybody, but you ended up hurting the worst ones more than the ones that were already really good. That makes sense. I think I explained myself there decently. Let's move on. Let's go to the heroes now. So here are all the heroes that had it, and most of them are pretty not used. But I'll go over them anyway. I'll go over the ones that really stand out to me, and I'll talk about them first. So, man, should I go through all of them? What am I gonna do here? Go through all of these guys, or just maybe the mythics and the legendaries? How about we do just mythics and legendaries? That's still a lot. I'm going through a lot if I do that. But I do save myself some time. I don't have to go over Hong Along, which is great, because I've seen that guy's skills so many times. Because he's the hero I had the most shards of when I first started playing. Justice Bow. Let's go ahead and find him. I know he's here. Oh, I can actually take out Mystery because I said he's a supporter, so he's not there actually. Okay. He's restrained. Here it is. Let's see, make sure he does, yeah. So, he has a buff dispel of all enemies upon normal attack. It's actually really good because it's a 25% chance. I'm pretty sure this probably goes up to like almost 50. But he has the chance upon normal attack to remove it from everyone. This is really good. Because, by the way, dang, I should have brought this up at the beginning of the video. It's more clickbaity. But this is a nerf to Zhu Zhang. Remember how, or not how broken he was. He still is. But remember how broken Zhu Zhang is because of his attack. Basically, he buffs the entire backline with a 5% damage buff for every hero that he attacks. And with his main skill hits the entire backline, he hits sometimes 3, sometimes 4 people. And that gives each of that gives a stack. So if he hits 4 people, 5% times 4, he gives a 20% attack buff to each one of his backline heroes. It's really OP right now. It's like, also he does good damage himself. It's not like this would make more sense if he were like a supporter that had little healing and little damage, but he does really good damage himself and he has insane buff. I said the one way to balance him is to not let it stack or to turn him into a support hero and remove his own damage. But I'm not the developer, so. Okay. So, this is a good ability. The problem is he's in restraint, so a lot of people don't use him, and his other skills are bad. He hits the front line. I mean, he's not terrible. He really isn't that bad. I think this buff actually moves him up a tier, if I'm honest. Like a whole tier, because his other things aren't bad. The defense, attack target. So he basically removes a bunch of defense from the front line, and this is really nice. When his allies' HP falls below 30%, he has a 100% chance to give them a 10% shield. The problem is the shield is too low. If it were like a 20 to 30% shield, he's almost A tier, but he's not at the moment. Wow, spent too long on Justice, but I did talk about Zhujiang, which I wanted to. I think he's getting nerfed by this, because there's a lot of heroes that use buff dispel that are actually going to remove all those attack buffs that he's putting on, which is good. Who's next on the list? Himiko. I will go through Himiko because I've looked at this hero. Buff dispels. This goes up to 100%, so the whole front line. No, not. It's going to hit 3 units no matter what. So whenever she casts her skill, she removes 3 buffs from the entire front line, or from 3 heroes, sorry. And has a 100% chance. I think that was her only one. She's still lacking one thing, and that's healing. She just needs more healing. Like, this is too small. She doesn't have enough healing spells. She's like a debuffer. That's her thing, is that she debuffs. But I don't want to debuff her. I would always take, if I was going to go Holy Legendary healer, I'm always going to take Lakshmi over Himiko. I think Lakshmi is a much better healer. Lakshmi here. Who's next? Joan of Arc. Alright, I kind of want to do it. Dang it. Should be its own video. But I really want to talk about it because it's such a cool idea. Me and Alex were talking and we found that no one's running her, but I really think there's a potential build with Joan of Arc that is really busted. Like maybe best in class? Okay, who knows? You'd have to build around it though. Just give up on synergies. Just forget the synergies. You would just build around this one mechanic. And I'll touch on it, but I'm not going to go through and build the team for us. If I could start over, I would do it for sure. But I've already spent all my like legendary tokens, so it's not happening. Also, she's blue, which is rough because Horus is blue, so it's hard to pull her in. Anyway, so damage 3 units, but whatever. Instant heal 2 units. The percentage is kind of low, so it's okay. It's not great. At least she focuses low HP, which is good. She gives defense to the front line too. This is bad. It's like really bad. Attack, defense. So she doesn't do extra damage to restrain, which is good because you're not going to use her. Like, you don't care about the restrain part, right? Like, you're not going to build a restrained team. But it's cool that as a supporter, she doesn't have extra restrain damage. At least she gets the 5% of defense. All right. Here's where I think she has potential to be like, to build a team around this one hero's mechanic. So she gives 30% of someone's energy bar whenever she casts her active skill. She only has a 25% chance to do that. That's not what I'm talking about. It's this, Berserk. So we confirmed that Berserk is exactly what I thought it was the whole time, but I wasn't sure because I saw that Berserk could go up like a... Dang. Look at this, guys. Look at this. This should be its own video, but I just want to talk about it now. Get out of here. Where's Joan of Arc? Where are you? There. See how this goes up 5% per level, so at level 10, it'll go up to 150%. That didn't make sense to me. Like, I didn't understand 150%, like... Because what I thought it was is that you lose 9... Say you lose 50% of your HP. Then, that means if you have Berserk, then you have 50% extra damage. Then you lose 1% more, you have 49% HP, then you'd have 51% extra attack. Or, it's attack, right? Yeah. So this is good for healers too, by the way. So basically, as you fall in health, you get more and more attack stat. So the strat here is that I think could be really broken. Is Joan of Arc is one of 2 heroes I've seen that actually applies Berserk to her allies. So as her allies' HP falls below 30%, she has a 100% chance to give that ally Berserk. And at max level, it's 150 Berserk. So, say she loses... say your hero is at 1% health, which you think, oh, that's never going to happen, like they would die at 1%. But then she gives them Berserk, because they fell below 30%. So, and it goes to 150. So at 1% health, they'd be getting 99%. But because this can go up to 150, it's technically, you add another 50%. So you're looking at like 100... and like 48% or something, right? So it's technically not that much. It's like half of that, so it'd be what? I'm dumb. No, I had it right. 148%. I did half. Cool. So at 1%, they'd be getting 148% extra attack. That's more than doubling. More than doubling your attack stat. It was really strong. This is why Joan of Arc is good. I'm not even go over her. Debuff Dispel is nice. So upon normal attack, she has a pretty high chance to like remove these dispels from people. So removing a debuff dispel means getting rid of bleeds, getting rid of shock, getting rid of freeze, getting rid of like reduced defense, reduce immunity, reduce all that stuff. But this is the build, guys. You take Joan of Arc with Berserk, and then you find heroes with immortality. So we're talking Vlad. We're talking Lilith. Who else has... people that have immortal 1% by 60%. You've seen that skill, right? I know for sure Lilith and Vlad have it. Here you go. Immortal. Ally self, 1 unit. HP below 1%, 60% of the time, but you can upgrade it all the way to 90% of the time. So basically, they're going to drop down to 1%, be unkillable for a turn, get the Berserk buff, and automatically guarantee that hit. I think it's really strong. Like, a whole team of heroes that bring immortal, and then paired up with this Joan. And you're probably thinking, okay, good idea, but there can't be that many heroes that run immortal. And you're right, there's probably not I haven't looked to see all of them. I think there are more than 5, but I don't think there are that many good ones that run immortality. But who cares? There is an immortality card, so you can technically put it on anyone. The problem is the chance is really low, but it is 2 turns, which is better than the 1 turn for most heroes. So, let me know what you guys think. Is it viable? Is it as broken as I think it is? Because think about Vlad. Even for Vlad, I know it's only 1 turn, but he has transfusion. So that 1 turn that he's immortal, and if he's able to cast his skill with the 150% extra attack buff from Berserk, he's going to heal up a ton. Seems good to me. But you guys let me know what you think. Also, hers is for 2 turns, so pretty strong. Let's go back to this again. Joan of Arc, Iron Fan, Hongodong, Wada. Medusa. I do want to go over Medusa. I think she's pretty important. Nuada, he only hits one unit, so he has to do a ton of damage for it to be worth it. And he does really good damage, like, I'm not gonna lie, but I just don't think he brings like, it's just not, it's, he dispels debuffs on his active skill, but he only hits one person, so it's just not worth it. But Medusa, though, her skill just got changed completely. Like, it was something else. Like, had nothing to do with what it is now. But now it's debuff dispel +1 to all allies whenever she casts her active skill. So basically, she gets people. It's not bad. It's pretty good. Also, Medusa's thing, by the way, is when she drops below 50% health, she has a 31% chance to petrify 2 enemies. That doesn't sound that good, but when you consider she also has recovery when she falls below 50% health, it possibly means that in the next turn she'll go back over 50% and then do it again and again and again. So pair Medusa with a decent healer, and she can be dropping over and below 50 a bunch of times and just petrifying 2 people. That's why the chance is so low, by the way. That's why it's at 31, because they assume that it's going to go up and down a bunch because of her continuous recovery when she drops below 50%. But other than that, debuff dispel to all allies on active skill. I think that's better than most of these other ones, but what else did I want to talk about? Medusa, Chiron. I'll go over Chiron and Barbados. Oh. Rapunzel got a pretty big buff, actually, but no one uses her because Nightingale is way better for a healer and bleed. Chiron and Barbados basically got the same buff, so I'll just review one. Whichever one I see first. Buff dispel +3 target under condition, so 100% of the time after this is leveled, he's just going to dispel 3 buffs off 2 people. I think Chiron actually does more than 2 people, though. Does he hit everyone? Yep. But his is debuff dispel on 3 allies 100% of the time. I think he does. Yeah, that's it. Cool. Like, it's all the same buffs. I'm not going to go through every hero now because they're all going to be very similar, besides Medusa. Her and Nuada's like were the only different ones, I think, that they just changed their skills completely. I do think that makes Medusa a little bit stronger. I do think it makes Barbados, who is already strong in my opinion, stronger. And while we're on, I'll just go ahead and open up this and hope for what? Okay. I mean, I was definitely looking at stuff. We're gonna open up some chests, do Guild War, and then I'll get off. And if anybody has any questions, I will look at chat every once in a while. And yeah, Rasputin definitely needs a nerf because too strong. But I do want to mention that, like I said yesterday, I think he has like a rally effect where it's people stacking a. Doesn't look good. Oh, it's not bad. Berserker 2 is what I wanted, but I'll take 1. Berserker 1 is good. Hey, give me that. Nothing amazing. Oh no, I didn't get 20 holy shards. Let's hope this is a holy hero. Oh, it's Frankenstein. Whew, 1,000. Is that worth it? Alright. $23. Oops, didn't mean to click that. Good boss, did that already. Bounty, did that. Guild War, we got a hit. Dang. Soul Society really benefited from me, like from us hitting CNA. See, I can't kill that one, but I might as well hit this. I think I can beat it. What's that loading time? Nice, double cast. Oh no, he didn't get to cast a skill. I guess that's fine. My healer's about to... Yeah, it's over. Good job, Chungbi. As usual. Did I make a difference, actually? I want to check. We're still 4th, 3rd? Yeah, we're too far. Dang, I'm actually surprised. Yeah, the struggle. I lost too much. I should get one more move before it ends. That'd be cool if I get that, but not gonna happen. I don't think it's possible for me to move up into 2nd. I mean, that's fine. This guy got destroyed, so that's good. I can get 8 more points. 10. Best case scenario, I get 10 more points. And I would catch up, but we'll see. I might get destroyed before that happens. It's not great. Zeus is buffed this week. Lucky people. Dang, it's close. It is so close. What's happening, guys? Are we falling off? I like the package, though. It's a great package. I think I did everything. Let's hit portal a few times at least. The load time is ridiculous. Dracula's, I do need copies of him actually. But this guy I don't. I'm looking for Changbi shards, of course. I don't. Thing is, Athena, Aphrodite, Horus, and Beowulf, they're like newer heroes, right? I don't think they show up in these shops for some reason. Also, I don't think they show up in the main shop either. So it's gonna be hard to get copies of them. I could be wrong though. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That's today's stream. I kept it 40 minutes. Not bad. Kept it short, almost like a video. I mean, not really. But I'll see you guys tomorrow.